and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be doing a review for Greedfall, which is an action-adventure RPG available on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Greedfall is set in colonial times where you fight with swords and guns, you dress in really cool trench coats, and you wear really ugly hats. So the story is that you set off to some mystical island with your cousin, the newly appointed governor, to look for a cure to a plague that has been devastating your homeland.
Come on now, I swear
You're given the role as legate, which means you end up being tasked with a lot of the groundwork. So things like investigations, looking for the cure, locating people, settling disputes, and all of that kind of stuff. To be honest, the main story is pretty meh to start off with, but it definitely gets a lot juicier further in the game. Also, a lot of the earlier quests, which you think are nothing, end up linking to some of those bigger quests, and I thought that was pretty cool. Everything ends up sort of connecting and making sense the more you progress. The biggest thing that initially drew me into playing this game, aside from the hats, would be the graphics. This game looks good, and surprisingly so given that it was made by a smaller-ish developer. I don't know, I googled how many people worked in the company and it told me like 70, and then I realized I have no idea what the normal amount of employees are, so I'm assuming that's a small number. Okay. The game has a bit of a gothic vibe, which totally reminded me of Bloodborne for that 10 minutes that I played it before I gave up because I kept dying. But the gameplay itself actually feels more similar to Dragon Age Inquisition, so kind of a weird mashup, but it totally works. Similarly to Dragon Age, a large part of the game focuses on the fact that you travel with companions that you'll meet while doing quests, and they can actually impact the game depending on who you travel with. So you can develop friendships with these people if you do their side quests, and these friendships can offer benefits. Like if you have a quest and you need a certain skill to be able to do something, but you don't have it, your companion can do it if you're friends with them. And if they have that particular trait. So it's kind of worth trying to build up those friendships because it can save you a lot of hassle. But at the same time, those side quests can be pretty big to do anyway, so does it save you a lot of hassle? I don't know. The quests are pretty diverse, and as I said, they get more interesting the longer you play. So you tend to get a few options for most of the quests on how you want to complete something, whether that be through stealth, combat, or using your charisma. Greedfall was also really easy to get the hang of. I play so many games where the menus and the game mechanics are just way too complicated, and it really takes me a good few hours to get the hang of things, but everything was really straightforward and simple in Greedfall. Combat was also pretty decent and again, easy to figure out. You've got swords and hammers, guns and magic. There's also some big old monsters that you gotta fight. Initially, I thought they'd kind of be roaming around in the wild and you kind of just run into them and it'd be like epic, but you mainly just find them during quests. Usually they'd be guarding some sort of area or a temple. The rest of the gameplay was also very easy. If you need to sneak into a place, it's really obvious where you need to go, or like the pattern that the guards are using to walk around, so it makes it super easy to sneak past them, even on your first attempt. Which is rare for me, but I did it. If you need to make a potion or obtain something for a quest, it's always easy to locate the item or ingredients because there's literally just like one merchant that sells like everything. But yeah, it's a really easy game. Some people might not like this, but honestly, I didn't mind it. I think I was just kind of feeling for a really easy game because I've been playing some more difficult ones recently. But it's a really good no-think game, which I don't think is like super common for an action RPG, so yeah, thumbs up from me. Just in general, Greedfall has a lot of great components, but I also felt like it was lacking a little bit in some areas. So at times it was a bit glitchy, although to be fair, they didn't impact the gameplay for me and they don't bother me at all when they don't, so if anything, I just found them funny. Most buildings are just a copy and paste of each other with slight changes to the interior. The governor building is exactly the same in each city, and I also noticed that this was the same for other types of buildings throughout the world as well. For this reason and some others, I kind of didn't really find Greedfall to be immersive at all. The towns were very limited in what they had, only having one merchant that sells everything. Also, outside of the city didn't really have much to do. I didn't really feel that need to explore at all, just because it's not like open world. You can't just go wherever you want. There's kind of a really defined path that you have to follow. Even if it looks like you can go somewhere else, like walk through a bush, you can't. There's invisible barriers everywhere. And even when I did explore, I didn't really find much, just groups of monsters and like chests with some random stuff in it. So yeah, just a lot of small things that kind of prevented me from like really being sucked in. Open world would have been good. I was really disappointed when I found out that you have to fast travel between areas, just because, again, that just totally destroys any sense of immersion for me. Just to reiterate, I did really like the game. I just think there was potential to make it like an awesome game. Side note, but does anyone find with games like this that offer male and female character options, the males are good and normal, but then if you play the female character, they act exactly like the male would, and it just comes off like a little weird. Like they based the entire game off of a male, but then they made a female option available. I don't know. I also appreciated that they attempted to put some sort of consequence type thing in Greedfall, even though I don't really think it worked properly sometimes. For example, I was doing a following quest and was found by the guy, and instead of failing and restarting like most games, it resulted in a fight where I would have to kill him. Awesome, right? But whatever, I reloaded the game because I didn't want to kill him and I wanted to see what happened. And I did successfully follow him, and I never saw him again. So there's options, but they don't always feel like they actually have an impact. But yeah, like I said, there are a lot of things that killed the sense of immersion for me, and there were a lot of flaws, but the story is great, the companions have great personalities, the general vibe and aesthetic of the game is really cool. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm very, very keen for Greedfall 2. Greedfall is also available on Xbox Game Pass and the PlayStation Games Collection for any of you who are interested in playing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!